Good evening, everybody. My name is Emily Williams, and I am a senior here at Northwood University, and I would like to welcome all of you to our second annual Winter Wonderland kickoff. Woo! So on your way in, you probably got a nice little flyer that talks a little bit more about our Winter Wonderland program. So if you're interested in, purchasing Jeff's book tonight, you can use the form on the back of it to do that, and you should do that because we are only having about 200 of these amazing books out there, so you're getting a really cool limited edition piece that you can add to your collection. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. And we are gathered here also to, spend time with a beloved professor and a truly deep friend of mine personally. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Jeff Phillips back to these hallowed halls of Northwood University. He has been an inspiration to generations of students, both through his engaging lectures and teaching style and his involvement with pioneering the Northwood Honors Program. Not only is he, beloved for his teaching, but he's also very, very talented in the creative arts, including cartooning, which you can see right up there, and you will get to see a lot more of with his book. And the book he is about to share was written and illustrated by Jeff himself, so it's going to be fantastic. We all know that. And I would love to welcome to the stage our Professor Emeritus, Jeff Phillips.
Thank you, Emily.
And at this time, any of our kids that we have in the audience, you guys can come on stage too. What? We have these really nice blankets here because you're going to be able to see Professor Phillips' book up close and personal because he has a gigantic copy right here that he is going to read. So come on down, guys. I got spots for you right here. Right here on these beautiful, beautiful Northwood blue blankets. Got to have that Northwood pride right there, right?
I can legit just skip over every single step.
Oh my gosh, that's
Wow.
pretty impressive. I wish I was that cool. I can't skip over every step. I have to take them all one at a time.
I can pretty much jump on every single one and just jump off.
We do have a little gift for all of our kids up here too. We have a couple of coloring pages, and we have some teddy bears today. So that's just a little Christmas fun for you guys. All right, and if you guys can't see the book pages right up here, we do have the pages that are going to be up on the screen for you. So it's okay if you guys aren't ready to come up close and personal. All right. We getting everybody down here? Perfect, perfect. Yeah, come on down. We still got room.
Oh, my students did that all the time. Just reminds me of the days I was teaching.
Maddox, not surprising. My little sister does that every single day I visit her.
Every
Really?
single day.
Yeah.
All right.
Looks like everybody's got a bear.
Without
this
further
is-
ado, it's your time to steal the show.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've got a story about a bear. This bear is named Boo. Boo Bear. Tickety boo. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying before. When I was your age, I used to watch movies, and I still do, but when I was watching movies, there was a man named Danny Kaye, and he starred in a movie about Hans Christian Andersen. And Hans Christian Andersen was a man who wrote wonderful stories, and you probably know most of them. But at one point in the movie about Hans Christian Andersen, Danny Kaye was riding a bike through Copenhagen, and he was singing a song called Tickety Boo. And Tickety Boo basically meant everything is wonderful. Everything is good. And that's what this story is about. So for your folks, I've got a quote here. The two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. So, let's find out what's going on. Now that picture, if you can see it, it's a bunny. That bunny has a name, and that bunny was my son's. Both of my sons have a bunny. They named him, can you guess? They named him Bunny. Okay? They got all my creativity. Bunny the bunny. Now when my second son was born, he had to have a bunny too, so he got another one. But we couldn't name him Bunny, so we named him Bunny Cuz. And that was Bunny's cousin. So they're still in the house. But here's our story. I'm a well-seasoned traveler, and I've been here and there. You can probably tell by my wild and free hair. The night breezes push me. Never learned how to drive. I love to keep moving, so much more than arrive. Would you let me just rest here? I will sing for my dinner. Do you like to hear stories? Just call me the yarn spinner. If I had a plug nickel and a couple of dimes, I'd tell you a story of simpler times. Though my pockets are empty, I've got a full heart. And if you have one too, well, I guess we can start. How many of you have a full heart? A lot of love. Oh, good. Once upon, twice upon, maybe 3 times or more, I can never remember what happened before. So let's say it's last Tuesday. That's a pretty good time. And now we can settle down into our rhyme. Have you heard people say things are tickety-boo? They mean life's in balance in all that they do. Now you'll see a little man up there who's hearing the story, and the story's not moving fast enough for him. He says, would you just get on with it? But I see that you're anxious and accustomed to speed. Always in such a hurry, you might miss what you need. You're like my friend Polly, who rushed round everywhere. But she learned a nice lesson with the help of Boo Bear. Now, Boo had been with Polly since she drew her first air. And they grew up together, an inseparable pair. See, there's Polly and Boo when Polly's 3. Is anybody 3? Okay. Polly and Boo when she's 12. Anybody 12? No?
My brother is.
He is?
So is 13.
Guess that's how it works. Yeah. And there's a picture of Boo and Polly last Tuesday. Now, Boo had been with Polly since she drew her first air, and they grew up together, an inseparable pair. Then it happened last Tuesday. Polly flopped onto her bed. Her eyes filled with worry. She took Boo and she said, I'm just so exhausted. And she rustled Boo's fur. I've so much to do, and my life is a blur. I've got soccer and softball and homework, ballet, house cleaning, nose bleeding, starring in a school play. At times, Boo, I wonder, what is it all for? I feel like I'm slamming a revolving door. You know what would happen if you slammed a revolving door? It'd come back and hit you.
I was just saying that.
You're the man.
I know them things.
No, nobody'd say that to your face. And to top it all off, add more pounds to the weight, a big term paper is coming, and it cannot be late. The little bear, flummoxed, confused, at wit's end, knew his Polly was stressed out, needing downtime to mend. Have you ever been so busy that you just wanted to take a nap?
Yeah. When I was visiting my
Oh, you handled it really well.
And then she just starts crying. I'm like, sis, I just can't play with you. You made me so tired.
It happens.
It's not my fault.
As it's that way with my wife. Yeah. And so he jumped down from his pillow and he said, "My dear Polly Tooker, Boo is here to your rescue from your head's pressure cooker. I'll make a great journey to help you with your theme. Take some time for yourself just to sit back and dream. We live in a country reaching out far and wild. I'll do some field research in the fields stretched outside. I'll find you an answer if it's all that I do, and then you can know all is tickety-boo." Polly Tooker then hugged her adventurous bear. "My first stop," he said, "will be Lazy Fair." Now, as everyone knows, in Boo's neck of the woods, that's where townfolk gathered to offer up all their goods. It was a free market named for Deuter J. Lazy, rug maker, achiever, a little bit crazy. Past the Northwoods, Boo traveled, not too fast or too slow, till he reached the warm hay woods, where the woodwinds would blow. And if you look, you can see all the places that he can go. Ethicsville, Haywoods, Northwoods, ups and downs. You're quick. Lazy Fair, Panda Fork in the Road. It takes a village. You can't get there from here. And sky's the limits. Down in Jungle Land. Nestled deep in the Haywoods, the fair makes your heart melt with all sorts of treasures like a reversible pelt. A pelt is like an animal skin. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You got your own book there, pal. And today's fair was bursting, all excitement and fun, but Boo Bear's on assignment to make sure his job's done. Now later, if you have a chance, take a look at who's at the fair. You'll notice, anybody ever see Where's Waldo? You see Waldo?
No, not Waldo, but somebody else.
Who do you see?
I see that guy from, in the corner. I forgot his
Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
You're watching Rick and Morty?
Well, I don't watch it, I just know about it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Well, I found it.
So determined to rise o'er the bluster and noise, Boo weaved to a small stand, gathering up all his poise. "Perhaps you can help me," he asked at the booth. "I need information, nicely seasoned with truth." The pitchman laughed loudly and rolled his bug eyes. "Oh, but I deal in pleasantries, misdirection, and lies." "I'm afraid that won't do. I don't travel that way." And Boo looked dejected. "Fibs just lead us astray. No, if I'm to help Polly, I'll need buckets of truth. Don't consider me picky. Please don't think me uncouth." The old vendor looked puzzled while he shook his old head. "Truth is in short supply. Try another instead." But determined Boo Bear, armed with gumption galore, went from patron to patron to find truth at its core. When he felt he'd exhausted all Lazy Fair sources, he heard a man's cry, "Hey, Boo, hold your horses." The little bear shrugged. "Why, I've never owned ponies, so I surely can't hold them. No carousel phonies." The man who addressed him laughed and bobbled his head. "Keep that spirit up, man. You'll be fine," the man said. With a good sense of humor, you'll conquer all weather. Your positive outlook ties the whole world together. Our hero's face brightened at the sound of those words. At last, something helpful, not advice for the birds. I'll tell you what, man, his new friend hunkered down. You'll find what you're seeking when you go to this town. Then he gave Boo a map. Take you down to Paw City, where the people lack something, but their lawns are all pretty. Boo Bear thanked his new friend. Though my memory's hazy, I'm pretty sure that man was Deuter J. Lazy. A day ripe for travel, Boo followed the map, counting out all the landmarks. He was there in a snap. All the tree trunks were noted with bright painted sticks, and he made the right turn, reaching Route 66. Found it. Do you see one above it that says Neighborhood 143? Yep. Does anybody know what Neighborhood 143 is? You did? Are there UFOs? Oh, okay. Have you ever heard of Mr. Rogers? Mr. Rogers always wanted to weigh 143 pounds. Do you know why? Because 143, 1, I, 4, L-O-V-E, 3, Y-O-U. I love you. In the distance, a house seemed to swing and to sway, clinging on for dear life like it might wash away. Its side yard was peppered with the salt of the earth, townfolk browsing and bartering for all they were worth. And parked on a couch, which had seen better days and years, an old lady presided, watching, listening, all ears. How much is this table? This tea set? These rugs? I saw those lamps first. They fought like quinky bugs. The old lady sat there, amused by the display. Then she motioned Boo forward in a welcoming way. So Boo strolled toward the woman, who looked vaguely Peruvian. She extended her hand. My name's Antediluvian. It's my pleasure to meet you, Boo Bear said with a bow. My fact-finding mission brought me here to you now. Here and now, Auntie mused. That sounds powerfully zen. I spend all my time there, don't care much for back when. Boo leapt up in excitement. Oh, that's it. Oh, my dear. Can you answer my question to find out why we're here? Auntie's eyes nearly popped out, and they grew rather moist. That's such a big issue for such a small one to hoist. She took in a deep breath, found a beautiful smile, and its radiance spanned 7/8 of a mile. Oh, you serve my heart well, you most notable dear. You've brightened my faith, once surrendered to fear. Do you see all this stuff that's consuming my yard? It's been washed by a flood. It's all dirty and marred. But they care not a whit about tarnished old goods. When a cheap bargain beckons, they'll run out of the woods. Do you feel those nice breezes? What a difference they make. But these hawkers are focused on how much more they can take. Boo Bear pondered and wondered, scratched his little bare head. Do they have any idea why they're here? Boo Bear said. They're good folks, Auntie said. Now don't you get me wrong. It's just they've forgotten all the words to their song. I'd advise you to ask them, but don't be surprised if their answers are empty and won't open your eyes. Now, from what I remember, the first person he asked was a businessman burdened and far overtasked. His hair stood at odd angles, his brow wrinkled with stress. Sweaty shirt sleeves were rolled up. His badge read, TDS. Excuse me, Boo questioned. The man jumped from his skin. Ah! You're not from the office. His face showed a shocked grin. I'm a little high-strung. I was playing a hunch that you were my boss. I'm due back from my lunch. I don't wish to keep you, Boo said, if you're willing. But could I ask if you find your life happy, fulfilling? Well, I hope you'll forgive me. Sometimes I'm a mess. My wife and my kids know my whole wife's TDS. That's Total Dough Systems, he explained. We make bread, and there's never enough keeping appetites fed. He kept sweating profusely, turning green grass to mud. At the rate he was going, he'd create a great flood. From sunup to sundown, I breathe flour and rolls. I'm breaking my fingers poking out donut holes. And you sit there and ask if my life's a fine service? I don't think about it. You're making me nervous. You're just like my family, stealing all of my time. I have to make dough. If I don't, it's a crime. Oh, great. I'm behind schedule, as you've led me astray. You've got some crust to you, buddy. Won't you please go away? Shocked, Boo backed into ante. The man whirled, a tornado, and he spun back to work, his face red, a tomato. You certainly got a nice rise out of him. And he comforted Boo with her vigor and vim. Boo, let's turn our attention to a sunnier place. Now don't get discouraged by the rats in this race. And he said, there's a beauty, pointing out someone near her. A young woman, spellbound, entranced by a mirror. Goodness me, said Boo Bear. Why, she must be a princess. But I'll ask my question with bear flair and finesse. Good day, my dear fair lady. Please tell me, I implore. Would you share all your insight into what you're here for? Barely seeing Boo tremble, her eyes glued to the glass, the princess waved him away like a bothersome gas. My purpose, oh now really, it should be crystal clear. To be treasured, admired, that's the reason I'm here. I exist to stop traffic with beauty so rare to see. Why should I waste time chasing humility? Have you known such a vision of heavenly grace? I can tell that you're awestruck by the look on your face. But you're not looking at me, Boo said, stating the truth. The princess beamed at her pores, the epitome of youth. Well, by now you should leave me, exit for your own good, for you'd spend all your days watching me if you could. No, I'm not being vain. Now be gone, hit the road. Long exposure to me causes heads to explode. You mere mortal folk, you are not built for my glory. So Boo left disenchanted, feeling sad for his story. She called me a mortal, though I'm just a Boo Bear. I hate to admit it, but she just doesn't care. And he said, I'll be candid. How she lives gives me fits. Her skin may be peachy, but her soul is the pits. Then she sat down beside him, curled her arm around him too. How the world leads its life, well, it's not up to you. In the summertime, some humans say it's too nice, as if pleasantest days became too great a price. They'll find ugly in shadows when the sun's shining bright, then they're shaking their fists at the coming of night. But the light that is inside you is so precious and rare, you should never say, oh, I am just a Boo Bear. There's no just about it. I will celebrate you for all you have brought me. I go on, yes, I do. Boo's spirits were soaring, bolstered by her pep talk. I've gained oh so much insight from this lovely day's walk. As the afternoon stretched out and the day cracked its back, it became quite apparent Boo was on the right track. They strolled through Mungo Park, where they heard a fanfare. This is called a town circle, better than a town square. Paw City folk come here with their own box of soap. It's not really brainwashing, but a nice way to cope. A loud man was projecting power pointing at trees. He was sporting a robe that waved high at his knees. Ivy grew from his trousers and encircled his chest, but to stop him from shouting, well, you'd be quite hard-pressed. People come from all nations, what I say is so great. While others stay silent, I pontificate. They all gather to marvel, I'm incredibly smart. I'm bloated with wisdom. I'm compelled to impart. I'll spout my opinions with jaw-dropping verve. A fountain of knowledge, spouting bubbling with nerve. You impress me, kind sir, Boo tried hard to insert, but the man just plowed on, causing Boo's ears to hurt. I must beg your pardon, interrupting's bad form, but I must find an answer. Boo's face flushed and grew warm. The professor drew back, his eyes darkening with rage. How dare you? He thundered. You stopped me in mid-page. Boo glanced back at Auntie, who signaled her full support. So he gathered himself up, his long fuse growing short. I wish to discover just what we're here for. The professor shot back. You're a crashing dumb bore. Not a bore, but a bear. One would think you would know. Now please answer my questing. Fountains can overflow. Your outburst is stupid, uninformed, intellectual. Ineffectual. Even worse than that, you're anti-intellectual. Boo countered, but this is of great consequence. But the orator screamed, stay on your side of the fence. Don't annoy me with questions. You're not smart enough. You've not earned the right to burden me with your stuff. Then it dawned upon Boo with the strength of a sigh. Why, you haven't the foggiest, faintest notion of why. Oh, yeah? Well, who asked you? He shouted back, quite embarrassed. Then he picked up his soapbox. I'm a victim. I'm harassed. Well, perhaps, Auntie said, that's our cue. We should leave. It's so obvious he wears his heart on his sleeve. Such a strange way to put it, Boo thought and confessed. Auntie, shouldn't he keep it stashed away in his chest? Auntie D merely laughed. Oh, dear Boo, you're a prize. How I wish that the others saw the world through your eyes. But I must tell you honest, I fear I've let you down. Your questions unanswered by the folks in our town. Oh, I've more than enough to help write Polly's theme, and I thank you most humbly, for today's been a dream. Boo extended a paw to bid Auntie goodbye. She said, do forgive me. Something's watering my eye. Well, it goes without saying, or so some people claim, but Boo said, I'll say it right out loud just the same. I'm leaving Paw City, but I want you to know that you'll always be with me. Yes, wherever I go. And he scooped him up and hugged him. Keep your smile and your quest. You've gone out of your way to give others your best. It may go without saying, and it usually does, but I'm glad that you shared it. It feels nice, just because. Boo's long journey back home seemed to take half the time. Why are distances shorter when the traveling is sublime? Soon Boo passed through the haywoods with its matrix of trees, sniffed the sweetness of freedom as it danced in the breeze, and then back through the Northwoods where the timber wolves sang. Sounds of home welcomed Boo as the soft church bells rang. As he rounded the corner of Johnson and 3rd, Polly let out a squeal the whole neighborhood heard. I'm so happy to see you, Polly swept up her bear. You know, I was worried, Boo. I looked everywhere. I know that you told me sit back and relax, so I did. When I woke up, I lost sight of your tracks. Oh, you won't see my footprints. I prefer traveling light. It's hard to climb higher when you're weighed down with fright. So what did you learn on your journey away? Did you answer your questing that caused you to stray? Boo then led Polly, took her up to the front porch swing, and nuzzling in closer said, let me tell you one thing. The world's so much bigger than I can see with my eyes. It just goes on forever and cuts us down to size. I met interesting people who don't live as I do. They were so very different, thought I'd checked into a zoo. Some people are lacking what's honest and true, and others aren't happy since enough just won't do. And then there are folks who are too self-consumed, and still others lack manners. Their friendships are doomed. But if you're so lucky to meet someone who cares, one who likes and accepts you, one who puts on no airs, one who thinks you are special, won't demand that you change, won't expect you to shape-shift, twist and turn, rearrange, then you realize blessings are there showering you, and joy will surround you and improve what you do. So if you ask me, oh, what are we here for? We're here for each other, to respect and love more. Lots of people walk tiptoed, bundled up in their silence. But I can't live that way, muffled up with compliance. More specifically, Polly, now what am I here for? I'm here for you, Polly. You're my one. Hear me roar. Inspired by Boo's searching, Polly ran to her room. The ideas were streaking, racing past in a zoom. Polly finished her paper, quoting what Boo had learned. Then the two celebrated the grade A they had earned. As they snuggled together, more than ready for a rest, they whispered a thank you, being two of the blessed. But you know, if you ask me, was the grade the main point? I'd kick you most gladly square right in your knee joint. I'd say, ask your mama, ask your pop or grand folk. Then you'll be well informed why I gave you a poke. But I see you're a smart one, a sharpie, a winner. So you'll always be welcome. Sit with me, the yarn spinner. Now we've had a big journey and you're tuckered, I see. So let's call this yarn raveled. Thanks for listening to me. And tomorrow is special. Yes, believe me, please do. Since the world has you in it, all is tickety-boo. Thank you.
I finished that already.
Whoa! Our kids are so good at coloring, and
Aren't
thank
they?
you.
Oh.
Thank you, Jeff, for this fantastic story and for your great orator skills. So, kids, you guys can keep your bears, you guys can keep your crayons and your coloring pages, and you guys can go see your parents. Thank you guys for listening so good. Awesome, awesome. Now, after this fantastic story, we do have a little bit more to our evening. In just a moment, we're going to head right outside to the clock tower and turn on our Christmas lights on campus. For any of our Northwood faculty and staff, we will also be announcing our winners of our holiday break raffle after the lights turn on. So if you haven't already, please go see Brittany in the pink jacket in the back to put your name into this raffle because you get a sweet day off of work. Woo! We'll also be having hot cocoa and Christmas cookies out there, so definitely enjoy those. And after the lights turn on, we will have some horse-drawn carriage rides right by the Student Union. So we have about groups of like 10 to 12, and the rides last about 10 minutes. And they start at 6:30-ish, and they go until 8. And we've got a lot of good stuff going on. If you guys would like to donate to the Northwood Fund, you will receive a customized tree ornament as well as a signed copy of this beautiful, beautiful book. So definitely go check out Advancement in the lobby right here. And I think that's it. Let's go down to the mall walk.